Welcome to Kimsey Software's MetalTrax training series. This is video 7, Purchase Orders. Entering Purchase Orders by Kyle Kimsey.
This is video 7, Entering Purchase Orders. Before we go do our purchase orders and enter our purchase orders, we're going to go to Miscellaneous Feature Initialization, and we're going to set up a few features. So I come over to Miscellaneous Feature Initialization. I come down to List the Features, and I'm going to list the features containing the word Next. If you notice there, it says Next Form Document Numbers. I'm going to come down, and I'm going to set my next PO number to be 20,000. So before you go live, you will want to come in and you'll want to set that to your next PO number in your series of POs. So I'm going to save that. I'm also going to come down into word or phrase, and I'm going to search for the word user. If you notice right there under Purchase Order User Defined Fields, there's a user defined field label. I'm going to say FOB for the label. I can also say if it's required or validated. So if I wanted to validate it, I could validate it, or if I wanted it to be, when I say validated, and then you could edit some UDF values, these would make it so there's the only values that the user putting in the purchase order could choose. Or you could just say, no, I'll freeform and let them type in whatever they'd like. So we're going to do that. And now I'm going to save and close down the feature initialization. We'll get back there in a bit. Next step is to enter the purchase orders. And then you'll see why I did what I did. So come into purchase orders, enter purchase orders. At the PO number, I'm going to hit Enter or Tab. Notice it fills in 20,000, which is what I put as my next available PO number. Hit Enter on the date. On my vendor ID, I can just start typing in the vendor the partial of the vendor name. For example, if I don't know the vendor ID, maybe it's a number or maybe it's alphanumeric. But if I just know the name and I knew I was typing in MATAL and it searches for Metalman, that's the one I want for Metalman products. Ship date and receipt date, I can hit enter or put in the ship date and the receipt date. The reason we have two different dates there is many of our customers have overseas vendors where they may be shipping on one date, you may not be receiving it for another month or a few weeks. The vendor contact, remember, was the contact that we set up under the vendor screen as the sales contact, and that's pulled in automatically. I'm logged in as supervisor, but if I was logged in as any other name, it would pull in the name. So I'm just going to type in Kyle Kimsey there as the buyer. On the freight on FOB, you notice when I set those up under feature initialization, here it is, the user defined fields. You do not have to track anything in the user defined fields. I did just so to show you that you can track various things like FOB points and other things. So I'm going to say in this destination, up here on the ship method, you notice it says deliver. I can have deliver, direct ship if I'm shipping it directly to a customer, or will call. In this case, I'm going to say deliver. And I'm going to say Swift Trucking as the ship via. Now notice down here at the bottom we have these non-material costs. These are used in case you want to put in, like I have a freight. Let's say my freight charge for this is going to be $100 per lot. I can also do per pound, per hundredweight, or per percentage of the order. In this case, I'm going to say $100 per lot. And then as I receive in the purchase order, you're going to notice this $100 is going to be spread out amongst all the lines on the PO based on the weight of the line or the footage of the line. These other descriptions are just ones I've set up: fuel surcharge, steel surcharge, labor surcharge. If you want to set up these, you go under Miscellaneous, Feature Initialization, come down to List, and just type the word or phrase cost. If you notice, there's one down here that says Define Inventory Cost. And then you can put in anything you want. If I wanted to change these and track a different cost, I could. When you're done, close that down. You're back in the PO. We're now ready to click on Order Detail. I do want to show you a few things first. As you highlight these different tabs, you notice it says the corresponding keystroke. In this case, F4, in this case, F5, and so on. Now, order notes can be input in the system. These are for the entire order. They don't go underneath the line. They can go on the top of the order, or they can go on the bottom of the order, depending on your forms. So right now, in this case, I'm not going to put in a note, but just to show you, external notes will print on the purchase order, internal notes will print on the pickup order, and internal external will print on both. The reason I'm not going to put in a note is because I am going to put in a line note, and then to show you the difference. When I print them to screen, I'll point out the differences. So I'm now ready to go to order detail, or F3. I hit enter on the line number. I don't type in a sales order number or line number because that's for buyouts. If I was doing this for a specific order or for a buyout sales order, I'd type in the sales order and the line number, and it would tie that in and pull the line in from the sales order. In this case, I'm doing it for stock. So let's order some of my angle item. I type in AN for angle. That's the one we set up in one of the other videos. The angle pulls in as the pounds per foot at 0.38. I'm going to come down to quantity ordered. I'm going to order 100 pieces. You notice the default pulls in of 20 feet. When I was setting up my standard sizes, I put in that's the default. But I could also do a non-standard or a 40-footer or any of the other standard sizes I had set up. Okay, in this case, we'll stick with 20 foot. On the cost, I'm going to put 40 cents a pound. And at this point, I'm going to say line finished. When I click line finish, you notice it goes up in the grid. I'm now able to do a new line. I can hit backspace here, or I can hit the new for the new line. Up here in the upper left-hand corner, you have new, edit, delete, cancel, and the lookup. So I'm going to show you a trick. If you've already done line saved on the line finished, you can just hit backspace and it'll assign the line to. In this case, we're now going to do some of our plate. And so I click on plate, the 1/4 inch plate. It brings in 10.2096 pounds per square foot. I'm going to do 10 pieces. In this case, it's 48 by 96. You notice when I hit my down arrow key, I can also do 60 by 120s. Let's say this one's going to be a non-standard. I do not have to come and choose the non-standard. I could have done that. But what I can do is I can also just type in NS for non-standard. Now notice it prompts me for my width and my length. So let's say in this case, we're doing a 50 by 72 that we want in for something we're doing. And the unit cost is going to be $45 a hundredweight. You notice it prompts right here to see if I want to change the mill cost. It notices that I'm doing pricing bumps over mill cost, and my mill cost, this cost that I'm putting on the PO, is more than my mill cost. And so it's asking if I want to change my mill cost, so when my sales reps price it over mill cost and do a pricing bump over mill cost, it would reflect appropriate pricing. I can also turn this off through feature initialization. I'm going to say yes to change my mill cost, and then I'm going to say line finished. My last item that I'm going to enter, this time I'm not going to hit the backspace just to show you different ways to do it. I'm going to click new. I'm going to come down, and now I'm going to do some of my 60-61. Remember on my 60-61, I had some 1/2 inch round. So I'm going to come down. In this case, I'm going to order some random length, and I'm going to order it instead of pieces like we've been doing. I want to show you I can do 1,000 feet. And because I have it set up as a random length, I can do 1,000 feet of 21-foot randoms, and I want to do it at 125 a foot. When I'm done, I can say line finished. And at this point, I'm going to put a note in. Let's say I want no damaged material to be accepted. Now I could put a note under each one of the lines, but in this case, I'm going to put a note just underneath the last line. And you have your external notes, internal notes, and internal and external, like I've mentioned. But we also have canned comments. So I'm going to click on my canned comments, and I have one set up, says no damaged material will be accepted. I'm going to select that. I can also add to it and save. Now to let you know where to set up your canned comments, you go under purchases, and you can come under notes and comments, and they're under canned comments. And you just type in the number that you want, or do a lookup on one that you've already done. I could do new for a new note and type in as many canned comments as I wanted. We're now done, finished with our order. So at this point, I just wanted to show you a few of the other things down here. This other cost button is just like your non-material cost on the header screen, but this is if you wanted cost only associated with an individual line. Or maybe you wanted additional costs associated, you wanted costs that were from the header as well as additional cost on one of the lines. You can add them here under non-material cost. You can also do inquiries. The inquiries will show you your inventory availability or your purchase history on any one of the items that you're highlighted. At this point, we're going to do line order finished. I've already done line finished. We're going to say order finished. And at this point, I'm going to print the purchase order and I'm going to preview it. The purchase order is printed. You notice my Kimsey Metal Products, my purchase order is on here. My order number is up here. And this is one of my forms. I'm going to just click on this and move up on it a little bit so you can see. Scroll down. You notice the freight is shown up here. That was the freight that I put in as the non-material cost. I can also show that at the bottom of the order. And here is my line note. Even though it's for this one, it prints at the bottom of all the lines, because it prints right underneath this line. And it says no damaged material will be accepted. And then at the bottom of the order, I have the order total. That's how you put in the purchase order. Now I am going to show you, this is one purchase order form. Let's say I wanted to add, at this point, I wanted to add a logo. I haven't shown you that yet. What we're going to do is we're going to come over to our miscellaneous functions. We're going to come over to branches, and I'm going to type in main for my branch. You notice right here I have no logos forms. If you send me your logo, we will change your logo so it fits in our forms, and we can even do new forms for you. I'm going to edit, and in this case, my logo forms, I'm going to do a lookup here, and I'm going to choose KS Metal Products. We're also going to choose that for the PO, and I'm also going to choose that for the invoice. Now I'm going to save. Now we're going to go back and print the purchase order. So I come into purchase orders, I come back to enter purchase order, I type in 20,000, and let's go print again. I'm going to hit the print button, print the purchase order, and preview it. You notice this is the logo. Now this logo I can squeeze to fit in the whole form. This is just the logo I already had, but I can make it so it fits. It can be big or small. In this case, it has my Kimsey Metal Products and my address. And so that's how to add your logo to your forms. You can also choose different forms. So in this case, this is a portrait form for purchase orders. But we're going to close it down and come over to miscellaneous functions, and I'm going to come over to feature initialization and type in 3007. 3007 is a feature you'll be getting in quite a bit at first to change your forms. So when we do a form for you, it will show up at the bottom with your name for your company. It will show your forms. I'm going to scroll down to the purchase orders. They're in alphabetical order, so they're under purchase orders. I'm going to choose, instead of the portrait laser, I'm going to do the default. Now when I do the default and save it, now I can come back to print the purchase order, type in 20,000 again, and just because I've changed the form, it completely changes the look. And there it is. You notice this is a landscape form, just a different look. And we can do any form you'd like. If you have a form that you've designed, or a QuickBooks form, or one from another ERP package, just let us know, and let us know what you want the forms to look like, and we'll make them look the way that you request. And that is entering purchase orders. Stay tuned for our other videos that we will have in this same video series. Our next video will be receiving in this purchase order.